Sodexo believes no one should ever live a day on an empty stomach. That's why they created Stop Hunger. It's Sodexo's unique philanthropic mission. Stop Hunger is a movement inspired and nurtured every day by the people of Sodexo, with a goal to help the most vulnerable among us.
Because hunger is not an option.
Because people depend on us.
Because younger generations are the future of our world.
Because every action counts.
And together we can make a difference.
Stop Hunger is daring.
Stop Hunger is caring.
Stop Hunger requires determination. Relentless determination to make the world a happier, healthier place where we all have an opportunity to thrive.
Join us on our mission to change lives, to bring hope to communities, to families, to children. Together, we can be change makers for a hunger-free world.
Thank you for your support of the Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation.
Welcome to the Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation Charity Classic. Please give a warm welcome to David Curry and Joan McLaughlin.
I'm sure you were all expecting us to dance to that song, but that's not going to happen. Welcome to the 5th Annual Charity Classic. It's nice to have our Sodexo Foundation family here all together. Can you believe it's been 5 years, Joan?
Dave, I really cannot believe it's been 5 years. 5 years ago, we were looking at a pandemic. We knew we couldn't go back to the Marriott. And you, my friend, stepped up to the challenge to come up with a new way to celebrate our foundation. And I have to say, you did it with confidence. You did it with relentless determination. And he did it with a decisive voice. And if you know Dave, you know what I'm talking about here.
I have a very decisive voice.
And there was a little uncertainty on the part of the board, but Dave, here we are, 5 years later. So please, everybody, give me a rousing round of applause to thank Dave Curry for this incredible journey.
It's been a labor of love, and I appreciate everybody being here.
Oh, thank you. Well, speaking of being here, I want to let you know how astounding your impact has been to the foundation. Over this past 5 years, we have raised over $9 million. Thank you. Directly benefiting over 15 million people in need. This is it's an incredible achievement and a testament to the power of our collective actions here. So a huge shout out goes to the Sodexo Supply Management team, my fellow board of directors on the foundation, and the unstoppable, dynamic, indefatigable Stop Hunger team, Roxanne, Sarah, Lisa, and Taylor. It's really their unwavering commitment and their tireless efforts that have touched countless lives and made the Charity Classic an event we eagerly look forward to every year.
Thank you, Joan. We also want to acknowledge one of the foundation's accomplishments that would not have been possible without the support of our sponsors. For 5 years, the PepsiCo Company has been our primary sponsor for the Sodexo Charity Classic. On behalf of myself, the foundation's board, we are incredibly grateful to Hugh, Vivian, Chris, and the whole PepsiCo team.
Indeed.
Thank you.
And I echo Dave's thank you, and also want to direct our attendees' attention to this evening's program, where we recognize all of our premium sponsors. And a special thank you to Cisco for sustaining your commitment as a platinum partner. Now, the Charity Classic is a popular event.
We got some clapping.
Come on, let's get some going here. And with the additional support of our founding, champion, and contributing partners, as well as all the attendees here and those watching virtually tonight, The foundation has been able to grow programs, sustain giving, even during economic downturns. And as many of you know, I've been with the foundation for the past 25 years. In the beginning, my dream was that we would win the war against hunger by now. Sadly, as economies have ebbed and flowed, food insecurity rates have mirrored those fluctuations. But I still believe, I still dream that we can stop hunger if we collectively commit to feeding, empowering, and educating people. The future belongs to those who dream, and it belongs to the children who deserve nothing less than a world full of hope and opportunity.
In recent months, our country has witnessed unrest and uncertainty. The loss of jobs and a sustained higher living costs are putting our food banks under tremendous distress. Now more than ever, we need to invest in our communities, our workforce, and most importantly, the children and youth of this great nation. Food security for North America is at a crossroads. As leaders, and we're all leaders in this room, we need to demonstrate relentless determination and perseverance for the world without hunger. That's the theme of this evening's program. The challenges of 2025 may seem overwhelming, but history has shown us time and again real progress is possible when communities, government, and individuals work together. We cannot give up. That is not an option. We need to work together and design a food system that nourishes everyone, not just those that can afford it.
Beyond fundraising, many attendees have worked with the foundation to ensure access to food, to coordinate food donations, to support engagement activities, and elevate fundraising through cause marketing. For example, the Big Soup program, in partnership with Nestle Professional, Sodexo Live, and Sodexo Campus, has served over 50,000 bowls of soup. Cause marketing campaigns support feeding programs that benefit children and young adults. Special thanks to the companies listed here for their contributions to our cause marketing efforts, and to Lisa Kuna on the Stop Hunger team for coordinating these efforts. And we've seen great collaboration in local communities, such as the partnership with Smithfield and the Armed Services YMCA, delivering 1,000 meals to military families for Easter. And this week, consistent with our motto of where we show up, we give back, partners helped stock the local Frisco Family Services store, a free grocery store for qualifying families. Thanks to all who donated food and supplies to these families, OPS, formerly known as Office Depot, provided supplies to fill 200 backpacks, ensuring students are ready for school in the fall. These donations, coupled with Stop Hunger's contributions, are valued at over $41,000. So together, we are all helping students return to school, nourished, ready to learn. And this collaboration demonstrates relentless determination and the power of our collective efforts.
That brings us to a special thank you. I want to thank Stephanie McGuire and Sheila Counts and the rest of my team who volunteer to help with the sponsorships and support this week's activities. I also want to thank Kip. I have an awesome team, so thank you for that. I also want to thank Kip, Bill, Jamie, and Ann from Tournaments for Charity. They are part of our extended family, and they really help make this an elevated event for each and every one of us. And a final thank you to our dedicated Stop Hunger volunteers who are in the room and watching tonight. We're so grateful for the countless hours you contribute to elevating the mission of the Stop Hunger Foundation through education, fundraising, food drives, and virtual volunteering with programs like Lemon Tree, a nonprofit that helps connect people with food in their local communities. Sodexo employees are an integral part of Stop Hunger. They serve on the boards of nonprofits. They help us identify schools in need of backpack and summer feeding programs. They implement programs like the Campus Move Out event and serve as Stop Hunger champions. We're very grateful for each and every one of you, and thank you for all the support.
Excuse me, Dave and Joan. I believe we have one more thank you that we forgot to add to this evening's program. So sorry. Will you please welcome to the stage members of the Aspire Bakeries team, Tyson Yu, Bo Netzer, Scott Goslin, and Mark Goldrainer.
Is this on? There we go. Yes. Good evening. I'm Tyson Yu, CEO. Nah, forget that. Tyson Yu is on the tarmac at DFW, if you can imagine that. He wants to be here. He'll be here tonight. So I'm Bo Netzer, the president of food service at Aspire Bakeries, and a proud supply partner to Sodexo for the past 25 years. On behalf of myself, Scott, and Mark, who's on stage, and Tyson, who will be here a little later, I'm honored to be here tonight to present the Stop Hunger Foundation with a check that represents Aspire Bakeries' commitment to the foundation's mission. As a food company, we too have a relentless determination to persevere for a world without hunger. And with our Otis Spunkmeyer brand of sweet baked goods, we're in the business of putting smiles on people's faces. But in a country as wealthy as ours, hunger is nothing to smile about. So when we wanted to do more, Roxanne Moore, Lisa Acuna, and Mary Cinquepalmi, I love that name. I worked for a guy from Milan, Massimo Garavaglia. He gave me that name. I got that. I love that name. Mary, it's awesome. And also Lynn Browning entered the picture, and their passion, support, and willingness to work with us on a national cookie bake sale brought this successful initiative to fruition. Together, we created a program in which a portion of the Otis Spunkmeyer cookie sales would go to the Stop Hunger Foundation. Through their creativity, resourcefulness, Roxanne, Lisa, Lynn, and Mary also connected with us with Move for Hunger, a partnership that led to the placement of over 3,000 cases of Otis Spunkmeyer baked goods into food pantries across the nation. So tonight, we thank you, Roxanne, Lisa, Lynn, and Mary, and on behalf of the entire Aspire Bakeries and Otis Spunkmeyer team, I want to express a heartfelt thank you to Sodexo and the foundation for this meaningful partnership. We're humbled tonight to present this check for $85,035 to the Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation.
Come on, sir.
Thanks, Dave.
Get in the picture.
This is kind of extraordinary. Wow. I don't think I can take this to the bank, though. I don't see any number. Well, I do see numbers at the bottom. Yeah. On behalf of myself and the Stop Hunger Board, thank you, Tyson, who we'll see later tonight, Bo, Scott, and Mark, and the entire Aspire Bakery team for bringing their passion and determination to improve the lives of those who are most vulnerable. The cookie campaign has indeed been one of the largest one-time cause marketing contributions in the history of the foundation, and you have our sincere thank you.
And now we have a great program for you tonight, a special program to commemorate the Charity Classic #5. So to help us do that, please welcome the one and only, the outstanding, the amazing Roxanne Moore, the Executive Director for the Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation. Woohoo!
Thank you to the entire Aspire Bakeries team, and a sincere thank you to all of you who are here tonight. You know, I want you to know that every single dollar, every single action is helping to support people who need our help. I also like to take a minute and just thank everyone, the behind-the-scenes crew who's been helping us make this event spectacular tonight. You know, thank you to the production team who's here making us all sound and look great on stage. I also want to thank Sodexo's very own Chuck Fiacco, Susan Engel and Taylor Garicki, who are helping to manage the live stream. And I also want to thank the hospitality and culinary team at the Omni PGA Frisco, who is providing you with refreshments this evening. So let's just give a huge round of applause to everybody making the night spectacular. Now, I'm not going to lie, tonight's program is pretty packed, but it is pretty fabulous as well. So I have the opportunity to begin with one announcement, followed by a very special interview. I'll begin with the announcement. So, as many of you know, disasters continue to plague our country and our world. With the increasing frequency of these events, the Stop Hunger Board began to wonder, are we doing enough? You know, many nonprofit organizations like the American Red Cross, they exist to help communities when disaster strikes. But our team wondered if anyone was helping these communities beyond their immediate needs. How are people staying informed about the recovery of these communities, especially when the news is no longer covering them and helping us understand whether or not they've returned to normal? Therefore, Stop Hunger saw an opportunity. We saw an opportunity to assess community needs post-disaster, when the dust settles, but when these communities, we all know, are still trying to rebuild. Our response to unforeseen catastrophic events will be known as the Emerging Grant. It's going to require the Stop Hunger team to lean into communities, identify unmet needs that are linked to our mission, and then leverage our grant funds and align them to Stop Hunger's food aid programs. But that's not all. We're also going to seek opportunities to engage volunteerism. We're going to lean on the entire ecosystem of Sodexo and all of our partners, including you, to help us help those who have been devastated by unforeseen circumstances. Our first identified community to receive the Emerging Grant will be Asheville, North Carolina. During Hurricane Helene, the Manna Food Bank in Asheville, which supports 16 counties in western North Carolina, was absolutely destroyed. In addition to the counties supported by the food bank, they also support the Qualla Boundary, which is home to the eastern band of the Cherokee Indians. Now, unfortunately, it's going to take 3 years and $112 million to rebuild this food bank. But even before Hurricane Helene, many of these counties we're talking about were already struggling with food insecurity. In 2024, the food bank provided 140,000 summer meals to children. The Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation will launch this year's Emerging Grant by providing $105,000 to fully fund the summer feeding program in the Carolina counties, which are continuing to struggle with recovery. And that's not all. We want to do more. So consequently, all of our funding tonight, all of the funds that we raise are going towards supporting this new Emerging Grant program. Our ambition, if it's needed, is to work with at least 3 communities every year. You know, it's too often that hardship and food insecurity result from unforeseen and uncontrollable situations, not necessarily because of personal shortcomings. And I hate to tell us all, but none of us are immune. So let's take a moment and hear from the executive director of the...
We cannot thank Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation enough for coming alongside us and providing meals for over 2,000 children this summer. These meals are so incredibly important for our students when they're out of school. This helps the kids and their families. In Manna's 42-year history, Sodexo is the first foundation to ever fully fund our Manna Packs program for the summer. Hurricane Helene was devastating to our region, and this support is so incredibly important. Many more families and children are coming for emergency food assistance than ever have before in our history. We know that the road to recovery is long, and we are committed to being there for our community for the long haul. We want to say a very special thank you to the Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation and to each and every one of you for your interest, your care for the people of Western North Carolina, and your support. Thank you.
And we would not have been able to expand our grant giving and create the Emerging Grant Program if it was not for the Charity Classic and the funds that we're raising because of this event and because of all of you. So again, thank you for your contributions and for being here. Okay, so now let's switch gears. I am excited to share that we have a very special guest joining us this evening, and maybe some of you had the opportunity to meet him last night. It's Robert Egger. Robert is a, well, nope, he's not coming on stage yet. Let me introduce him. Hang on, Robert, stay back there. Let me just say a few words about Robert first. Robert Egger is a well-known entrepreneur. He is a nonprofit leader. He is an author, and he's a Power of Food champion. He is the founder of one of the best workforce development programs in the United States, DC Central Kitchen. And as such, he has been included in the Nonprofit Times list of the 50 most powerful and influential nonprofit leaders. Robert has received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Restaurant Association in Metropolitan Washington, as well as the Humanitarian Year of the Award from the James Beard Foundation. Egger has also been named an Oprah Angel, a Point of Light, a Real Food Hero by Food Tank, a Real Food Innovator by the U.S. Healthful Food Council, and check it out, one of Oprah Magazine's Real Sexiest Men Alive, as well as one of the 10 most caring people by the Caring Institute. Another cool fact is that Robert and Chef Jose Andres are very close friends. I think he might speak about that a little bit tonight, but Robert was on their board for the World Central Kitchen for some time as well. And lastly, Robert Egger was also a dear friend to the late Stephen J. Brady, the gentleman who often receives credit for helping us start the Stop Hunger Foundation. So here tonight to help us reflect on his experiences in the anti-hunger world, as well as helping us to think about the future, please welcome the legendary Robert Egger. Now,
Thank you so much. My best friend. Oh, dude, just like home. Home on the range. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here tonight.
So, Robert, it is so great to have you here with us this evening, and I want to thank you also for taking the drive from your home in New Mexico and this lovely weather we're having.
Well, it's a joy to know you can still kick out a 9-hour road trip at 66.
100%. So I know our time here tonight is limited. Robert and I get on the telephone and we could talk for hours and hours. And so I hope that all of you will have an opportunity to meet Robert tonight and expand upon our short conversation while we're here on stage. So I want to begin. We probably should kick this off by sharing the fact that DC Central Kitchen and the Stop Hunger Foundation have been partners for years, for more than 25 years. Decades. And maybe we should begin by just helping everyone understand the mission of DC Central Kitchen.
Well, it's really simple. You know, the idea originally was I worked in nightclubs. I was a nightclub manager, and I knew how much food we threw away. And a lot of my friends had gone to work in catering in the 1990s in DC, which was king. And they were complaining about how much food was thrown away. So that idea was originally, let's stop food from being wasted. But it really became a relentless pursuit, a determination, as we're using the word tonight, to really explore all the different things we waste and how we can really make them part of a solution.
Yeah. Well, I have a little secret. I found a video of you. It's about 7 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but it is from about 14 years ago. It is a short clip that shares a little bit about the original DC Central Kitchen, so maybe we can tee that up. And
wow, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Where they're at. So what we do every day, you'll see, is engage usually between 40 and 60 volunteers, men and women in the class. This is class 83 right now. Men and women who've graduated who are now employees. And as you'll see, what we're doing is producing the better part of about 5,000 meals. Right. So, you know, again, it's an engaging process that takes advantage of stuff that used to be thrown away. I mean, that's our whole bag, man. Everything we use here was already here. You know, we take food our society threw away, people our society undervalued, a kitchen that was vacant, volunteers who wanted to be part of something powerful, chefs who had food but also would help teach, agencies that wanted to empower people. All that was there, man. We just reorganized existing ingredients. And that's the key, I think, to the future, is not how do we buy more, build more. It's like, what are we using, and is there a way to use it differently and more powerfully?
I love that.
Wow.
What I really love about that short clip is that you mentioned that all the ingredients were there.
And free.
And free.
Free, yeah.
Free, 100%. That's kind of how I feel about this room. I feel like there's a lot of ingredients in this room. There's a lot of different talent. There's a lot of different resources. And when we've all been able to pull all that together, we're driving impact like many of the things that Dave and Joan highlighted in the introduction as well. So what we saw was the old kitchen.
Yep.
And now there's a new location in Washington, D.C. that still offers great learning and workforce development and tons of opportunities for volunteering. So I do encourage you, if you're in the D.C. area, to check it out. Mike Curtin is the current CEO, and there's been 2,700 graduates so far that have helped to provide, I believe, 50 million meals in the
Crazy,
DC area.
Yeah, man, crazy.
So yeah, look at that. Look at what you started. That's amazing. So at our Charity Classic last year, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the foundation, and we reflected on the passion of Stephen Brady. And I understand that you and Stephen may have actually met before the foundation, before the mission was even considered. And so I was hoping you could help us reflect on what was going on 30 years ago and what brought you and Steve together.
Well, it was an interesting time because corporate philanthropy was really starting to come together. You know, everybody wanted to be involved in changing the world, and more importantly, redirecting profit towards back into the community. And the UPS Foundation, another, again, very early startup, decided we're in the moving stuff business. Let's help make sure food gets moved from where it is to where it can be used. Steve was right on that, like a chicken on a June bug, as they say. We went to the first meeting of this kind of nascent gathering. I mean, it was just a ragtag group of people. We didn't have any sense of each other, and who was kind of an ally, who was a friend, and from all over the country. But Steve was very intellectually curious. He had no interest in the status quo, and with all respect of like pounds moved. He wanted lives changed. And that's what really hooked us up, because he really dug the fact that we were doing job training, and that really excited him. And it was a very interesting time too, because there was no good data on how much food was wasted in America. I mean, we were guessing. And it was during the Clinton administration under Secretary of Agriculture Dan Glickman from the great state of Kansas that we really did our first studies about that. And it also began a movement in which we started to work with the Good Food Purchasing, the Food Donor Act, which protected people from liability in case they got, so it was a real heady time. And you know, I was talking with one of the heroes you all will meet tonight, Charity, about Steve Brady and Pascal, because, and we're gonna get into this a little bit, but I always tell people there's a deeper hunger in America, that people long to think their life means something, that they're part of something bigger. And we were talking about Pascal, Steve's wife, beloved wife, and how important it is for her to see the ripple that Steve put forward. You know, sometimes when you're on this journey, you step not knowing where you're gonna end up. And Steve just instinctively wanted to jump in, make a difference, and make Sodexo proud. You know, not just proud as a company, but for all the employees to be proud of what they were doing, not just saying, but doing.
Right.
So that ripple he set forth is still so powerful, and it's again, it's in this room as we speak.
I would 100% agree, and the reason I realized that you and Stephen met was it was before the Broadmoor Charity Classic, and you and I were at a chance, just by chance, event together, and we started chatting, and you just started rambling to me about all the things about your conversations with you and Steve, and I'm like, wow, I really think you helped play a role in helping us all be here tonight. So I credit you too for helping us to start.
Well, you know, I tell you, man, people have said all day, it's so nice for you to be here, and it's like, nice. No, I mean, yeah, but I owe Sodexo. I mean, you all really, I don't think, a lot of people don't realize the role Sodexo played in opening doors, not just with food, but again, as we'll get into, jobs and growth of an idea. We were talking earlier, I'll do this very quick, but there was a point in which many kitchens were opening up around the country, and I was desperate to find an existing resource. And I stumbled across the idea that there are 60,000 school-based cafeterias in America that were closed all afternoon, all weekend. And I went to Steve. And Steve is a lot like Jose Andres in reverse, in that Jose has come to me with so many ideas, and from the earliest days, I would roll my eyes and say, that's the craziest idea I've ever heard. But then he did it. Steve was me to my Jose. I would go to Steve with wacky ideas because he wanted new ideas. And I said, let's hook up and do a thing with these campus kitchens. You know, let's use them and get students on campus. Instead of driving down to the DC kitchen, imagine if they could walk down the hall. And Steve immediately was like, let's do it. Yeah. And again, so that's the power of Sodexo, of being open to innovation and relentlessly determined to fight hunger with audacity.
And we appreciate that about a lot of you in the room. You've engaged in conversations with members of my team and myself, and we've started new programs like the Big Soup and Move Out Hunger. So was it always your vision to start a workforce development program, or what inspired you to create DC Central Kitchen?
It really was, because I'll be honest with you, I was like many people, I'm a recovering hypocrite. I ran nightclubs with this idea of I'm going to change the world with the power of food, with music. And my wife and I wanted to get married. This little church had a thing called the Great Patrol, G-R-A-T-E. And they took turns with 7 other different churches and synagogues in Georgetown going out at night. And the priest at the time said, look, I'll give you a great deal if you go out and volunteer. And, I heard deal, and it was a good, I'm ready to go. But I was nervous, and I was like everybody, kind of burdened by the stereotypes of who I was going to meet that night. But it was wild because we pulled out in front of the White House, and it was raining. And there was this long line of people waiting around Lafayette Park. And we started serving people. And I'm up in the warm truck, serving people down in the rain. And of course, it was my first experience. And some of the conversations I had made me really feel like I had misjudged tremendously the people who would be in that line. But what really struck me, and I say this with love in my heart, is that was traditional charity in that I've always said it was more about the redemption of the giver, not the liberation of the receiver. And it was almost if I'm in the warm truck and they're down in the rain, there's got to be a way to level this playing field. I'm a sinner. I need redemption as much as the next person, just not at the expense of another person. So that idea of maybe we can start a program where, again, if we can get all that food donated, we can feed more people better food for less money. But if we offer men and women a chance to come in out of the rain and be part of the solution, we can shorten the line by the very way we serve it, and then in effect repay the donors of food with trained entry-level people, which is what every restaurant or every kitchen wants. So to me, it was a brilliant kind of simple logic that had never been done before. That's the joy of life. Sometimes you do something, and now, joyfully, there are hundreds of kitchens around the country that are somehow have that DC Central Kitchen DNA baked in.
They do, and you're still DC Central Kitchen is still really the showcase for workforce development.
Yeah, the idea was never expand the model and expand the idea of the model. And so the idea, we were always open source and gave it away to everybody. That was very important to us.
Now in your book, which I've read, Begging for Change, and I do encourage you all to read it, you reveal some fascinating facts about the evolution of DC Central Kitchen. And, like a lot of businesses today and nonprofit businesses today, are dealing with struggles. We all deal with struggles. You share in your book that there were potentially some tough times. Did you ever think that the program wasn't going to work, or how did you and your teams persevere through the tough times?
Well, we persevered because every 12 weeks was a graduation, and that gave people a sense of why they were there. And that's a real big part of the payday, if you will. But, everybody in this room's in business, and nonprofits are businesses. But we all sweat payroll. One of my proudest accomplishments is I made payroll for 34 years without fail. There are so many different moments. But as anybody in business tells you, man, if you coast, you're toast. And you got to constantly innovate. And as an example of that, we had historically trained men and women who were coming out of drug treatment programs or out of homelessness. And they had gone through programs to get to our door. But we really started, and our model was always who's at the bottom of the ladder and how can we help them up. But it came to a point in the 1990s where we started working more and more with returning citizens. Now, as the computer era came in, there was a thing, the box. And if you checked the box that said, have you ever been convicted of a felony, you never got a job. And it was tough because historically, the model was easy. Not easy, but as long as we trained people, again, knife skills, food sanitation, work as a team, everybody was happy. But we started to see how many people who are really committed to changing their lives couldn't get that break. And that was really frustrating. So again, you can curse the fates or you can innovate. And that began our social enterprises, where we said, in fact, as we have done many different times, let's find a way to prove our point. You can't badge or hector people. So that idea of, if we can show that we can employ men and women who are returning, if we can show that we can pay a good wage and do catering or whatnot, we can prove a point. But we can also take our DC Central Kitchen road on the show. So suddenly we're at the British Embassy, we're at the Smithsonian. And that idea of exposing people gently to this idea of the men and women who served you tonight are graduates of the DC Central Kitchen. And the look on people's faces when they realized they didn't know that. And that sense of how do you get people to change their mind is very much a big part. It's the kind of the Trojan horse strategy that we've employed.
And we've talked about that over the years about, just trying to make a difference in one person's life, how it can have that ripple effect, and it can be transformative for a human being. Now, do you have any advice for our audience, or maybe especially for our young scholars? Creating nonprofits can be difficult, and they can also, encounter tough situations. So do you have any advice or inspiration on how to get people to embrace an anti-hunger or a stop hunger mission? There's so much competition out there for wanting to engage in different charity ideas, but how can they inspire people to embrace stop hunger?
Well, I do this not to be ribald, but I really want to speak to the scholars because they're young. And when you're young, you see the world so clearly as it should be. And you can be very, very frustrated at times by your elders. You can be impatient with your elders sometimes for their seeming to not care or not get it. And I learned this kind of the hard way because I could be really holier than thou at times. And I'm going to ask our sound man, our camera dude, I don't know, years ago, I got this little tattooed on this finger because you don't want to, sometimes you can get frustrated by people and be tempted to use that finger. And that will never get you anywhere. And I have this little heart to remind me, lead with love. Recognize that people are genuinely good. I've never really met a bad person. People can be afraid. And what you have to do sometimes is really help people overcome their fear. It started with men and women who came through our job training program thinking they could never accomplish anything because they had never succeeded at anything in their life. As we heard so many times, I never finished anything but my prison sentence on graduation day. But they were always terrified. But that idea of how do I help people overcome fear? Because we've been talking about hunger for many, many years.
Yes, we have.
And I think I urge, again, the scholars to be somewhat diabolical in how you sell your product. Anybody here in business will tell you, if you're selling a product and the customer's not buying it, don't blame the customer, reimagine the product, and really help people understand. For years, again, the joy of job training was I can say, again, this is good business. I'll make you an offer you can't refuse, because if you help us by recovering food and training people, again, not only will you get a great entry-level employee, but we'll end up having men and women who are paying taxes, men and women who aren't going back to prison. So over the years, I've tried to make it about anything I can to help people overcome the fear we all have, because hunger is a tough subject.
It is a tough subject.
People don't want to think you're hungry in America, still to this day. So again, for you young leaders, again, we have a practice at DC Kitchen we call relentless incrementalism. It's like relentless determination, but let's focus on the word relentless. That idea of waking up every day. I was talking to Ash, one of the young scholars, about firsts in life, and that idea of constantly, again, approaching every single day as an opportunity, in this case, to see something new. But that idea of constantly every day, how can I make it bigger, badder, bolder, better every single day? So I hope I hope and I pray that the scholars have the tenacity and the daring, the patience to suffer sometimes the indignities of your elders, but the daring and determination of youth, and hold on to it tight, brothers and sisters, tight.
That's great advice. Thank you so very much. That's wonderful advice. Kind of along the same lines, Robert, this is our last question. In an ideal world, I wouldn't be sitting here. You and I would not be having this conversation. To your point, there would be no hunger, but here we are. So as we think forward 25 years, and I'm not so sure I'll be sitting in this chair 25 years from now doing the same thing, but what can we each be doing for the rest of our lives to help us address this issue of hunger? What would be the one thing, one suggestion you think we could do?
Well, I'm going to go back to Ash for a second because it goes back to firsts. Again, I celebrate firsts. I'm always looking. Like I drove here, I went through Wichita Falls, a first. Never been. I know you can tell the folks in Wichita, somebody was excited. But after 30 plus years and 50 million meals, I was recently at a little fiesta in our little village in New Mexico where my wife and I live. And I had one of those moments of clarity. because here was this little village of, again, it's a ragtag village. You know, we're talking about, you know, literally bikers, libertarians, I mean, tweakers, everybody is in this little village. And we had a fiesta, and here was everyone eating together. And I looked at it and I thought, you know, I have spent 30 plus years working so diligently on this idea of where can I get food and keep it from being wasted? How can I train people for jobs? How can I engage volunteers? How can I change people's hearts? All these things kind of on the front end. But at the end of the day, I distributed meals in a very traditional model. I went to a homeless shelter. I went to a senior center. And in a way, divided people. Think about that. We feed children over here. We feed elders over here. So intergenerational is the future. Getting old and young together is key. But that idea of community, and I really wished that I had spent a little bit more time, and I would again offer this suggestion to the scholars and anyone in this room, that idea of that deeper hunger. You know, people not only long for a sense of meaning, but a sense of community. And I think that we in the food movement have spent so many times feeding people, we haven't really thought about the power we have to bring people together. And I think now more than ever, we need to unite. And there is nothing that tears down barriers faster than a good shared meal. So I hope that's something we can leave on.
I think we can definitely leave on that. And, you know, I want to thank you, Robert, for this opportunity. I'm truly honored to be here with you tonight. I'm telling you, you're absolutely amazing. I think you're
fantastic. Thank you all very, very much.
Don't leave me yet.
Okay.
I mean,
again, thank you very, very much. And God bless Steve Brady.
We're grateful for your leadership, your friendship, and most importantly, for your selfless heart that has changed lives and is continuing to change lives. And again, I am truly honored to have been here with you this evening.
Right on.
And don't leave me yet, because as we move forward, we are going to continue to celebrate the great work of youth that you have been speaking to and their innovative ideas for ending hunger, as well as celebrate our Sodexo employees who day after day never lose sight of the importance of helping their neighbors, of helping their community. So we must continue to elevate these amazing humans and never underestimate the power of their inspirational stories and their efforts. So I think now's a great time for us to transition our program to celebrating the people who courageously embrace fighting hunger every day, our Sodexo employee heroes of everyday life.
Right on.
Thank you so much.
I'm the kitchen coordinator here at Rainbow Place. We are a hypothermia shelter. We provide a safe, warm place for the women to be overnight. We give them breakfast in the morning, a bag lunch to go, and then they come back in the evening and they have a nice hot dinner waiting for them. We have case managers here that will talk to them about their circumstances and help them to transition. And they have the lunch to take with them so that while they're out there, they don't have to worry about being hungry. I came to Rainbow with the intention of being a volunteer, and I ended up being offered the opportunity to be the kitchen coordinator. Giving to people that aren't able to have or help themselves is a rewarding feeling.
The beautiful thing about being here at Chandler House Bakery in Watertown is all the wonderful customers that we get to work with and that come in to see us on a regular basis. Through our social media sites and the interactions we have with our customers, we look for ways to collect food, to collect monetary donations that we could give back to the school district. We raised money to allow our student graduates to pay off their fees and participate in graduation, which we know is a rite of passage. When we found out that 42% of the students in our school district are eligible for free and reduced lunch, we figured that was a fantastic opportunity to take action. We've been able to give back to the Humane Society, recognizing that sometimes people are determining whether or not they want to buy food for their pets or buy food for themselves. We try to take a multifaceted approach to how we can choose to give back. I'm inspired by the people that are here in the bakery, our customers, our small team. Everybody leads from the heart. It always feels good to give back.
In 2012, I had got this program, and in the midst of that, we got to look for employment, and we also had to do volunteer work. We started helping out and passing out groceries and stuff like that. It was just something about helping and doing volunteer work. I guess that was my passion. Once I get off work, I come over, or either on a Saturday morning and volunteer. When the people come in, we let them shop. We also have resources like social workers that come in and ask them about housing, medical, mental health issues. They get the resources, the things they need, and it changed their lives. It's not about me, it's about the team that we got. We do this thing on love.
We work in a facility called CARE. Every Saturday, we prepare 264 hot dogs to bring to the homeless in the area. I was one of them, supporting 3 children by myself at that time. I know what a lot of them are going through. They get a smile from us. They get a personal package with the hot dog wrapped and a snack pack wrapped, and they smile back and they say, "You always are smiling." We need to make them feel that they are important and that they're cared for, because they are.
I work at a nonprofit grocery store in a food desert in Fort Wayne, Indiana. When I grew up as a girl, we had access. It wasn't a food desert. There were grocery stores here. We have a full grocery store where we have fresh fruits and vegetables. I wanted to be a part of the project, to do it right, to have some skin in the game, because it hits home for me on a personal level. I know what this community was when I grew up here and who the people were that played a critical impact in my life to be where I am today. It's not a job, it's something that I love and that I'm passionate about.
Please
If you can do something, you should do something.
Sorry.
You're helping a person to grow and to develop and get their feet planted back into a substantial and meaningful life.
It's not just all about you, but it's about the community and the people to help.
We all can help, and we all have different resources and abilities.
Every single person who gives back to food insecurity efforts, to gives to the Stop Hunger Foundation, is a hero.
Please welcome to the stage our first hero of everyday life, Donna Bundes. Donna, your unwavering dedication of resources, time, and energy to assisting others is truly commendable. For individuals experiencing homelessness, you provide a meal that transcends more than just physical nourishment. It gives them dignity, it gives them comfort, it affirms their worth. So that's what you do, Donna, and it's with really great pride and honor that we recognize you as a 2025 hero of everyday life. You're gonna get it back. You can cry if you want to. Now, let's welcome Louise Long, our next 2025 hero of everyday life. Now, Louise, you fully embrace your calling, bringing both positivity and hope to women facing uncertainty. Your work with Rainbow Shelter provides a place to rest and a meal, profoundly restoring normalcy to people's lives and comfort. A true hero recognizes the needs of others and puts those needs first, and that's what you do, Louise. That's the kind of person you are. Your actions light the way for others with compassion, and you show us that we can make a difference. And so it is my honor to recognize you as a 2025 hero of everyday life. let's bring to the stage our next hero of everyday life, Tony Norman. Now, Tony has helped create a sanctuary where individuals facing hardship can engage in heartfelt conversations. They can share their stories, and they find a sense of belonging. You don't shy away from the opportunity to help others, and the hours you dedicate to volunteering are really inspiring. I know, Tony, that your compassion and your dedication has transformed the lives of others, offering them hope and comfort at their time of need. So we are deeply honored and privileged to recognize you as a 2025 hero of everyday life. Come back, not yet. And now let's bring to the stage the next hero of everyday life, Charity Chandler. Now, Charity, from feeding local community members to helping young kids celebrate their well-deserved graduation, you pour your heart into helping others. Your unwavering moral integrity, your boundless generosity, your authentic leadership, and the truth that you live every day touches everyone who comes in contact with you. You embody the essence of a true hero, and your spirit is remarkable and boundless. So congratulations on being a 2025 hero of everyday life. And now let's welcome to the stage, hero of everyday life, LaQuisha Brown. She's dressed in the foundation colors, I see. LaQuisha, you've harnessed your knowledge and your experiences to act selflessly, uplifting others, and leading by example with courage. You embody the theme of this year's Charity Classic, relentless determination. From guiding young mothers to helping people attain food, your bravery, your steadfast commitment, your boundless compassion, they light the way for others. These are the reasons why we recognize you as a 2025 hero of everyday life. Now, a hero is someone who demonstrates a commitment to causes larger than themselves. They act selflessly to benefit others, and they lead by example. So tonight, we are honored again to add 5 more amazing Sodexo employees to our network of heroes of everyday life. They are outstanding people who can inspire us to give back, to dig in, and do more to help our neighbors. So let's give Donna, Louise, Charity, Tony, and LaQuisha another massive applause. Former scholar Jack Griffin joined us here to welcome our Stephen J. Brady Scholars. Jack couldn't be here tonight, but for a very good reason. Jack is being honored in Paris at our Sodexo Global Stop Hunger event, where they are recognizing future leaders in the field of hunger relief. So we're going to continue our tradition, nevertheless, of recognizing the next 5 innovative Stephen J. Brady Scholars. But before we get started, I really want to salute Sarah Sprechter on the Stop Hunger team, who for years and years has led all of our Hero and Scholar programs. Thank you, Sarah. And to help us introduce tonight's awardees are Sodexo leaders Belinda Oakley and David Gillian.
Even cut my hair and change my name, 'cause we all just wanna be big rock stars and living in
right. Thank you, Joan. What an honor to be here tonight recognizing these next 5 amazing Stephen J. Brady Scholars. I can't wait for you to meet these amazing individuals.
I just want to say, I kind of feel like we're at an awards show, maybe the Grammys, and we're like about to present here.
Well,
Is it the gold envelope? What is it?
Golden ticket.
Oh, it's a golden ticket.
It's a golden ticket.
Ah,
And
so
you
I
do-
shouldn't call you Indina Menzel.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Well, you do know this is our first gig on Thursday night, 7 miles up the road, down at the Star. They're hosting the Country Music Awards. I think we should do that.
I think this is an audition. We're going to treat it as an audition. You guys give us the applause at the end.
Indeed.
Fitting.
Indeed. Well, before we welcome this year's honorees to the stage, join us in watching a few highlights regarding their inspiring work.
The 2025 Stephen J. Brady Stop Hunger Scholars. Driving awareness, mobilizing youth, and pioneering innovative solutions to end hunger.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I started the Backpack Project to support people experiencing homelessness. Over the past few years, using a broad network of volunteers, schools, hospital emergency rooms, and police cruisers, I've distributed thousands of backpacks filled with essentials like food and hygiene products, as well as handwritten notes. The notes are my way of reminding people that they are not forgotten, that someone cares. I've devoted more than 2,000 hours to this work and helped collect over $250,000 in donated goods to keep our backpacks stocked. The project has grown across multiple states, mobilizing communities to ensure resources reach those who need them most. Sometimes, the smallest gesture, like packing a backpack or delivering a meal, can have the greatest impact on someone's life.
Hi, I'm Nate from Grassroots Grocery. We help provide fresh food to over 1,000 people each weekend across the Bronx, Harlem, and Upper East Side of Manhattan. It's been eye-opening to see so many individuals relying on these resources. Knowing that I've helped bring healthy meals to families really motivates me to keep going. I'm starting a school service club so more students can learn about hunger issues and take action. I believe our generation can make a massive impact. Find a local group or project that resonates with you. Every person who joins the fight against hunger makes a real difference.
I'm Shrusky, founder of Rise and Shine Foundation. I've been tackling school food waste by setting up composting and food recovery programs. We've rescued hundreds of thousands of pounds of food and turned what would have been trash into vital meals for families. Seeing so many students come together to keep good food out of landfills and put it into the hands of those who need it has been incredibly inspiring. Look around your community. There might be a school or local organization where you can start a composting initiative or organize a food collection. No contribution is too small in the fight against hunger and waste.
I'm Akash. I've been part of Joshua's Heart Foundation for over 5 years. I've helped distribute more than 6 million meals to over 100,000 people. One of my favorite projects involved creating a tool that uses artificial intelligence to predict where hunger is likely to spike so we can deliver food more efficiently and reduce waste. I work with volunteers and policymakers to expand access to benefits like WIC and the Child Tax Credit. Ending hunger isn't just about handing out meals. It's about making lasting changes. If you're interested in using technology, advocacy, or even just your time to help others, don't hesitate.
I'm Adam, and I'm proud to lead Hand to Hunger, a movement that started as a small club and is now spread worldwide. We've served more than 220,000 meals and rallied tens of thousands of student volunteers. I also developed Spork AI, an app that helps people turn whatever food they have into recipes, reducing food waste and making healthy meals accessible. My passion is creating sustainable, long-term solutions to end hunger. More than just handing out meals, it's about educating, collaborating, and constantly innovating. If you have ideas, no matter how big or small, there's room for them in this fight. Together, we can make real progress towards ensuring everyone has enough to eat.
Please welcome the 2025 Stephen J. Brady Stop Hunger Scholars.
right? I mean, you're standing before they even say anything. That says something. We're so excited for the 20 minutes we get to spend with you. It could be 2 hours, Roxanne. You didn't really specify timeline. And honestly, I think you're all going to find, for those who this is the first opportunity to be here, this time with these scholars is the most inspiring moment of the entire evening. And I think Robert said it perfectly. The youth see so clearly. And so please hang on every word that you hear tonight. We're so honored to have the opportunity to be with you.
Every year, we're intrigued by your actions and the inspiration behind your projects. Tonight, we're just hoping to learn a little more. Give us a little more than that video. We're going to start with you, Ryan. We had the chance to meet you previously. I did. Belinda did. So walk us through here. Tell us what you witnessed that cold winter in Chicago, which I grew up there, so I know it gets pretty cold, that sparked your idea for the Backpack Project. Can you tell us a little more about your experience and how it led to the work you do today?
I first want to just say a quick thank you to Sodexo and the Stop Hunger Foundation, as well as the sponsors, for putting on one of the best organized events that I've ever been to, as well as all of you for coming here tonight and spending your time with us this evening. As far as the start of the Backpack Project goes, I started back in the winter of 2016 when I was 9 years old. And it really started because of one moment that sparked a thought in my mind. My family and I, we were in the city of Chicago looking at Christmas decorations around the Macy's block store. And I started just taking notice to how many people were on the street living homelessly. And of course, in Chicago winters, it's some of the colder days of the year. And one woman had a sign that really resonated with me, and I felt connected with a lot of other people. Her sign read, "I'm not a bad girl, I've just made a bad choice." Over the years as well, I've found that sign connected with a lot of people. With that one interaction specifically, I had asked my parents if we could give her some money to help her out that evening. And my family made it clear to me that, while we can give some people money, we can't help every single person in that aspect, but it's important to acknowledge people. No matter if you can give them money or not, people who are living on the street and things like that in a situation like that are passed up by millions every day, just walking past them and ignoring them and not treating them a part of our society. So for that one woman specifically, I walked up, introduced myself, and luckily I had the holidays to break the ice, so wished her a happy holidays, and we had a short interaction that evening. But that one interaction kind of changed my mindset on those things forever. On the way back to Union Station in the city of Chicago, to take the train back out to our house in the suburbs, I started just introducing myself to all the people who I saw who were unhoused, living on the street in those cold months with small jackets or no jackets and things like that, and just wishing them happy holidays and introducing myself. On the train ride home, you hear about it all the time, like some companies, they start on a napkin, and that's really how the Backpack Project got started. On the train ride home, back to the suburbs, I was writing down a list of items that, of course, when I was 9, that I thought were going to be the most useful. But the most important thing with the Backpack Project has been to have those interactions. Over the past 9 years with the Backpack Project, I've had over 3,500 interactions now with people who are living homelessly on the streets when delivering our bags. And the important thing with that as well is there's something to learn on both ends from that situation. It's not necessarily just sharing stories and providing advice in some way from me to them, but learning from them as well. That's how the Backpack Project item list has grown past just food and past just toiletries and simple items. Our backpacks have about doubled in size from when we started, from a list of about 20 items and a value of approximately $35 to about a $75 backpack worth of items now with over 40 items in each bag. So talking to the people and interacting and having those interactions when making connections with people who are really facing these issues and them being able to expand my organization has become a huge part of the work we do today.
It's fantastic. That's right.
We were talking earlier today about Mr. Rogers quote that there isn't a person you wouldn't love if you didn't know their story. And I just want to take a moment to shout out the family members of the scholars who I know are here today, because we had the opportunity to sit at a bus stop for a very long time together last night. But, your parents saw that moment where you saw clearly and they nurtured that. So for all the mums and dads and family members and grandparents in the room, you can nurture that spirit and look at what it can create. It's truly remarkable. And congratulations to all the scholars family in the audience tonight. So Ryan, your backpacks, you also take them to police departments and hospitals. What do you think is important about the people who are in those locations and what the backpacks represent in those locations?
The important thing about that is that oftentimes it's it kind of becomes something that we might forget about sometimes, that people aren't necessarily always on the street or in public where they're visible and stuff like that, especially if you go into suburban areas. Trust me, homelessness and unhoused and poverty is still an extreme problem. It's just a lot easier to hide in those areas. So we found through a specific experience in my hometown where our police department had come across a man living homelessly, and he was living in a wooded area very close to my house, and they were offering him services that we have available in the suburbs more readily than sometimes they do in the city with better capacity limits, and they offered him space in a shelter and to get him food and things like that, and he refused to leave because he didn't have any belongings and he didn't have anything to carry his belongings in. At that point, the police department in my town reached out to us and asked if they could have a backpack, and immediately they took it to him, and he got right in their squad car and took a ride on down to the shelter with them, and things like that worked out. So it really does show how having belongings or a sense of kind of something that's yours can really change a mindset. As far as the police and hospital departments go now, there's multiple police departments near us in the suburbs of Chicago that either carry our backpacks in their squad cars or they have them with their social workers and stuff like that. So when they go out on homelessness counts or searching for people, especially in the winter months, they're able to hand out our bags as well as just offer them as something when people come into the police station needing assistance in some ways. For the hospitals as well, something that I wouldn't have thought of initially, but we made a connection with a hospital near us that's now spread to a few others in our area, where people come into the emergency room and obviously they're able to get care a lot of the times, but at some point they have to leave, and not being able to maintain the care that they've received is a huge problem and a huge reason why people come back with reoccurring issues. So one thing that we've added through talking to a lot of the people who are homeless, living on the streets and stuff like that over the years, is we've added mini first aid kits to our bags, which is a huge component because, of course, as I'm sure we could all assume, a small paper cut or something like that, when you're living in conditions as harsh as some of these people have to face, can become an extraordinary issue. And after you get that taken care of in an ER or a hospital in general, you want to be able to maintain that care, as well as just have a sense of belonging again, and necessity, and something that you own as well, and something that's yours when you leave, even if you don't necessarily have a place to go right away.
It's just amazing, absolutely incredible. And Trusty, I think you, similar to Ryan, had kind of an experience that set you on this course. STEM competition sponsored by the US Army, if you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, so we started our first pilot program of our compost program at a local elementary school as a part of this competition. So we decided to start this program because we knew food waste was a big issue and we wanted to bring awareness to it, especially the negative environmental impact of it. But when we started the first program, the results were undeniable. Just the sheer amount of food waste we were able to collect at this one local elementary school was so much larger than I actually thought it would be. And then I realized that this program, or like this problem, is a lot bigger than I originally thought it would be. We also started a survey at this local school, and we asked the students their thoughts about the program, and every single student we surveyed told us that every single student across the country, or especially like in our county, should participate in this program, and a big part of it was because they told us that this program is saving our planet. And after that, I realized I needed to expand this program, and that's really what inspired me to start my nonprofit, because I wanted to expand the program, and a large part of our mission is to inspire the youth to take action in their community, but especially just that survey told us that the students are becoming more environmentally aware, and we want to start these green habits in these students at a very young age so they could take it on with them their entire life. So that's really what inspired us to start our nonprofit and take it forward.
I love that. I was just inspired to start a nonprofit and take it forward. And obviously you hear that not only mentioning tackling food insecurity, but also food waste through composting programs as well in schools. But what you didn't hear is that this inspired to create a nonprofit. Montgomery County Public Schools, the largest school district in Maryland, has adopted the program in 211 schools, which for those of you that work in the schools business,
oh yeah.
Particularly right now in this country, when we talk about the National School Lunch Program, we're met by nothing but obstacles, all the reasons it's going to be difficult. You must have faced a lot of obstacles. So how did you make it happen?
For sure. So we realized that we wanted to start this program after we started our compost program, and we noticed that these students, while they're trying to compost it, which is a lot better for our environment, they're throwing it out completely untouched, they're not eating the food. So we realized that this food could be given to fight hunger in our community, especially after COVID. So after that, in our program, we have a share cart and a mini fridge put inside of the cafeterias, and so students have access to these systems throughout the day. So they're able to take food throughout the day whenever they're hungry, or they can take it home if needed, which is really helpful for both food shy and food insecure students. So because of our program, every single student in our county has access to food, and no student has to go to school or go home hungry, which we've been working on for a long time and we're especially proud of. But the way we were able to get this systemically implemented is we collaborated and we partnered with our county's Department of Sustainability and Compliance. We went to individual schools and talked to a lot of different schools, explaining to them the importance of starting this program. We also talked to our county's Board of Education, we testified to them, and eventually in 2021, we were able to convince them to add our food recovery program to our county's sustainability plan for the very first time. So because of that, we were able to get this program systemically implemented, and every single school in our county has access to start this program, which is fully funded by our county.
If that's not an example of having a tattooed love heart somewhere, I don't know what
Right?
is.
Okay, so we talked about 211 schools in Montgomery County, right? But you didn't stop there. Am I right?
Yeah.
You went and worked with state legislators, and now you've expanded across the state of Maryland. Can you give us an understanding of what that expansion has looked like? What does it look like today?
Yeah, so after we've been working on expanding our compost programs for a very long time. We've been able to start it in 15 different schools in our county. But while we were working on this, we realized that in order to get this really systemically implemented,
I'm just going to randomly sit right by you and just talk.
Get close.
Don't look.
But we realized that this has to be more systemically implemented. So we went and we worked on a lot of advocacy and policy work. So we founded this coalition.
Okay, you need me. Continue.
We started this coalition with other student leaders in our area, and we decided that we wanted to meet with other state legislators to be able to work on this policy work to make it more systemically implemented. So
You can keep going. This is fun. It's great for my eyes. It's really good.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we've been working on advocacy and policy work. So after founding our coalition, we met with state legislators and we explained to them the importance of these composting programs. So together we were able to work on a bill that allows Maryland schools $1.25 million for any schools in Maryland that want to start composting programs. So in support of this bill, we ran a postcard campaign for the first time, and the first time we received 6,000 written letters of postcards for support of this bill from across the state of Maryland. After we got those 6,000 letters of support, we were able to get this bill successfully passed, which is very exciting. We've been working on this for a very long time. However, when it was passed without funding. We realized that our work isn't done. We need to keep pushing for this. So together with the coalition, we ran a second postcard campaign. And this one was even more successful from the first. We were able to receive 11,000 written letters of support from Maryland constituents, from students across our county. We were able to get these written letters from 14 different counties across the state of Maryland, from 63 different schools. And this was really impactful because we were able to take all 11,000 of those postcards and we were able to hand deliver them to our governor. Because of this effort, we were able to finally get this bill passed with funding, and we were able to get $1.25 million for Maryland schools to start composting programs. And this was one of the largest mobilizations of K-12 student voices across Maryland. And this was also really impactful, especially to us, because our main goal is to raise awareness about this program and to uplift student voices and hopefully inspire them to take action in their community. And we realized with all those 17,000 voices, we were able to do exactly that. We're able to raise awareness about the negative environmental impact of food waste. So now, because of this, we've been able to start 24 new compost programs in my county itself, and we've also been working with other schools across our county to get this program started.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you. You see these stories, it's building, right? You know, this is impressive stuff. Nate, you're next. We got to top that. So we understand you have an organization named Grassroots Grocery.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and we saw in the video, you spend a lot of time every Saturday, I'm told, herding the cats, herding 150 plus or more volunteers, is that right?
Yes.
So help us understand that process and talk a bit about Grassroots Grocery.
So Grassroots Grocery is a nonprofit organization that is currently focused in the Bronx in a parking lot. And what we do is we have a box truck filled with produce that otherwise would have gone to waste. And we're talking about 10,000 to 15,000 pounds of produce that we recover from the Huts Point Produce Market. And what we do is we sort the produce, we take it out of the truck, and then we have a slogan called Drive Out Hunger, which is where we have volunteers who sign up to drive on our website that drive the produce to neighborhoods and about 1,100 families across the Bronx, Harlem, and Upper East Side of Manhattan. And we also have another slogan called Neighbors Helping Neighbors. We're helping communities that don't have produce in their households while also building a stronger sense of a community while we're helping those that need this.
Wow, impressive.
Can I just remind you that Nate is in the 6th grade? You didn't come here for career advice, but there's a really amazing stat that the most important, the statistically significant element that can change your career prospects is your network, is how open your network. So meet people, say hi, give money. But Nate,
Give money, yes.
for those that didn't see Nate last night, he had a little notebook with him all night. And when I happened to catch him, he showed me pages, and he's got all your details. And he's going to be calling. He had business cards. Like, there's career success coming over here and world change. So amazing, truly amazing. But Nate, obviously, when you're not trying to get everybody's contact details, which is so impressive, young man, why do you feel it's important for other young people to be participating in a service club like your Student Food Recovery Task Force?
I think it's important because we are the next generation, and after it's time for us, this issue is going to be our problem rather than the generation prior to us. So if we can have some awareness, it'll be better if we can just knock it out really easily. Also, I feel like the need that children need to be able to engage in their communities to learn how they can better serve them. And also, I was once talking to a father of two who came to a Grassroots Grocery event. They were gonna do a delivery, and I told him that once they get there, he should show his kids the line of people and that they're not there to just support Grassroots Grocery and paint an image. They're there because they rely on this food. They pretty much can't live without it. They need this food, and we're doing this so that they can have a sustainable life, that they can be able to continue living with a nutritious meal by their side.
I don't know who is this articulate in the 6th grade, but like, whoever you are, why haven't you fixed it yet? Come on. Akash, there's probably actually several members of the audience tonight who remember Joshua and the Joshua's Heart Foundation. Joshua was probably about Nate's age when he came to a Stop Hunger stage, and now he's graduated college about 2 years ago, I believe. Akash, your involvement with Joshua's Heart is a testament to the Scholars Program, I think. It kind of got you involved, and you continue to make a difference through that program and others. How you are elevating your work at Joshua's Foundation to AI, though, is incredible. It's probably the #1 question we get asked by our client partners is, how are we going to use AI? What is the future of AI? And you are using AI and predictive modeling tools to anticipate hunger trends. Can you talk to us about how that works?
Absolutely. First, I wanted to echo Ryan's words and say thank you to all of you for being here today, and to Sodexo for giving us a platform to speak. And also thank you to Joshua and Joshua's Heart Foundation for giving me this opportunity to kind of, I guess, make this project and even just elevate his own work in the field. So yeah, this idea first came about when we were in North Miami, where the pantry is located, and me and a lot of the other youth in the Joshua Hart Foundation, which is run by the Junior Advisory Board, were looking for a way to kind of improve our process in ending hunger. The whole foundation is youth-led, and we all kind of wanted to find a new and unique way to try and end this process and try to find a new innovative way to kind of go about ending world hunger, as I'm sure we're all trying to find, right? But this model essentially came about on the idea when we all were having a conversation and thought that we can find a way to proactively predict hunger trends and how we can use our resources and allocate our resources more effectively rather than just going to areas and trying to get people to come to these areas. So our model takes in real-time economic and environmental indicators like unemployment rates, the global grain use, as well as extreme weather, and combines this with localized food pantry data to kind of predict hunger trends a few weeks, days, or even months ahead of time. People like Joshua Hart Foundation or partners like Bread for the World could put resources and allocate their food and their time into areas very handedly and make sure that people that are hungry do not fall through the cracks. And we also presented this to Congress, Congressman Maxwell Frost, if I'm not sure if a lot of you are aware, to try and pass the child tax credit and WIC benefits, so they're able to kind of pass forward this advocacy and use data and analytics to make sure that policymakers are aware that they can make a change in their life. And we can improve on the mission of Joshua Hart Foundation, where we've already kind of given away 6 million pounds of food and helped over hundreds of thousands of people. And we wanted to kind of improve this process and improve these numbers, and this is kind of a way that we thought we could do. And using artificial intelligence in social impact is a sector that I'm interested in and a sector that a lot of the people in the foundation are interested in, and we kind of want to take this even further.
Roxanne, it feels like we should find out where the next emergent grant community is by talking to Akash. Note to self.
A little predictive analytics right there.
Yeah.
I love the idea. As we all know, Akash, AI, predictive analytics, technology is evolving so quickly. I think every company in this room understands the need to leverage AI and technology in their business. Mm-hmm. How do you envision AI continuing to help improve or solve hunger?
Yeah, great question. I think AI has the power to fundamentally shift the hunger conversation from being reactive to being proactive. I think a lot of what we can do can be done through AI and can be used in a very, very beneficial way. Whether this be through improving supply chain usage, through food use, making nutritional plans that can help out people that are coming to pantries and making sure that they get the food that they need rather than just food that they want, and making sure that they're healthy and they're being able to be kind of helped out, as well as helping policymakers making informed decisions using data and analytics, and making sure that there's a lot of different avenues that we can use AI in a social impact sector. These three of them are just like some few avenues that we can use them in, but there's a lot of different ways that we can do it. And we can only do this through having discussions with youth, between policymakers, and maybe even just businessmen like yourself and businesswomen, by making sure we have a change in the world and making sure that these technologies being used ethically as well as responsibly, and that it's used in the right hands.
You know, I recently read a quote. Akash, I recently read a quote that said AI will have a more profound impact on humanity than fire, electricity, and the internet. Think about that. And you clearly took this quote and put it into action. So thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so building on this whole technology thing, we're getting on to my favorite branded name here, Adam. So you're in this same technology realm, right?
Yeah.
Your app name, Spork AI. Love it. Tell us more about Spork AI.
Yeah, so Spork really came about from the fact that I'm not the best cook, and I would always have to lean
We could help with that.
We have some cooks.
We know a few people.
A couple chefs.
And I would always have to lean on recipes to put meals together. And a lot of times with these recipes, I found that I was buying items specifically for the recipe that I would never use after. So I'd buy a whole cabbage just to use like a fourth of it, and oftentimes the rest of it would go to waste because I just had no idea how to incorporate it into other meals. And so I thought about what if we could reverse it to where instead of you have a recipe that gives you ingredients, you give ingredients and get a recipe. And so essentially what Spork does is you can enter the ingredients you already have in your fridge and pantry, and it will generate for you a custom recipe. So if it's the end of the week and you have a random assortment of items in your fridge and pantry that you have no idea how to put together. You can just enter them into Spork and it'll generate a custom recipe that you can use, and hope through this you can reduce your food waste as less things go unincorporated.
It's amazing. And no judgment for what's in your fridge. Woo! We were laughing today about all the combinations of what goes into Spork AI at the end of a week. We won't use the examples we used today.
I was waiting.
Adam, I understand that your organization, Hand to Hunger, started locally in Virginia, but it is now a network of 76 chapters in 19 states. And oh, by the way, he's 18. How did you achieve the growth in this mission and the program?
Yeah, so Hand to Hunger started really through my experiences with Ramadan. 3 years ago was the first time that I fasted for all 30 days, and it was definitely a challenging experience, but it gave me a lot of empathy and really showed me how hard it is to go a day without food or water. And so through that, me and my friends just got together and started packing meals for our local homeless shelter. And as we outgrew my kitchen, we started a club at our school, and quickly we grew to be a really big club within our school. Within a few weeks, we had grown out of our sponsor's classroom and had to use our cafeteria. And within a few months, we were packing 4,000 to 5,000 sandwiches at each event. And we just started posting photos online of what we were doing, and we'd repost it to our personal Instagrams. And our friends at neighboring schools reached out saying, hey, we would love to start something similar. How did you guys do this? And in the first few days, it was just like group chats where we tell our friends, this is where you go and buy the bread for the cheapest, this is where you donate the meals, this is what works, this is what doesn't, sharing even just our slideshows that we used at our meetings. And that's really how our chapter program started. And we just continued to keep promoting it through social media, our website, and documentaries. And so today we've grown to almost 300 chapters in 38 states and 18 countries. And it's a network of students that get together to pack meals for the local community and help fight food insecurity wherever they are. We have chapters, we have a lot of chapters locally in the DMV region, but we also have chapters in Vietnam, Ethiopia, that look at how food insecurity is within their communities and tackle it from their different lenses.
What do you say?
Incredible.
Okay, team, you've each been involved in such fascinating and inspiring work. We're so impressed. Belinda, I don't know about you. What were you doing at this age?
A few things, most of which we'll have to wait for afterwards. But seriously, can you imagine what they are doing with the resources that they have, with again, the age and experience that they have? Everybody in this room is in a position of leadership somewhere, and you have resources. And if we applied half of what they've applied in their short amount of time in America and on this planet, we wouldn't have Roxanne and Robert, which would be really sad, but we wouldn't have that conversation. Just imagine what we could do if we applied half of their chutzpah right now. It's really incredible.
It is.
And so clearly not this at 18 is the answer to your question.
Exactly. Same. Okay, audience, get ready. This is the speed round. Okay, team, we've got one question for each of you. We want you to give a short, just concise answer to each question, okay? First question. Akash, what do you love about helping others?
For me personally, it's about seeing the empowerment and the change that I can make in the community. I think everyone, if they can make a change, they can make a change. Like Josh started Joshua's Heart Foundation when he was around 4 years old, and that's like a crazy age to start a nonprofit. But from that,
4? Did you say 4?
4 years old, yeah. But from that, it kind of went on, and I was able to kind of make a change in people's lives. I was working with the foundation since I was 12, and I could see that I could have an impact on people's lives, hear their stories, and actually be active in helping out the community and making a difference in someone's life, rather than just maybe lounging around. But I'm actually out there talking to people and seeing the change that I'm making in their faces, seeing them like go out of the pantry with a smile on their face. Something that really empowers me and makes me feel empowered and compassionate towards them.
Thank you for that.
And Adam, same question. What do you love about helping others?
Yeah, I would say similarly, just being able to see how small acts of kindness can have huge impacts on people's lives and brighten their day, and change the trajectory of how things are going for them. And just meeting people from so many different backgrounds that I would never probably run into, and how that changes how I look at the rest of the world and everything else in my life.
I love that, and I love the connection to Ryan too of, and it reminds me of Robert's, I could never say it as eloquently, but you talked about how too often charity is about redemption of the giver and not kind of service of the receiver. And what you two have both hit in your notes and that answer is truly trying to connect with people and restore. Hunger is the end of the conversation. There's all these things that lead to hunger, and it starts with belief and respect. And both of you have talked about that outside of this room. You give respect to people, and that's such a gift. I guess I'm supposed to ask another question. Hold on, cue card. Nate, regarding food insecurity and hunger, if you could wish for one thing to be different, what would it be?
I would definitely wish for food insecurity and hunger to be over, because it pains me so much to see how people are suffering because they don't have enough food to satisfy their needs. And when I do this work, I'm a Christian, and I always think about what God commands his people to do, which is to always help those who are less fortunate than you. And I always sympathize with those who are going through this, because they are suffering day to day while most people don't give a care in the world. And whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're middle-aged, no matter how old you are, you should never have to go without food. Never in your life.
Okay, Ryan, we're going to build off of what Nate just said. Why do you think we each need to persevere to end hunger?
I think the key is that it's not necessarily just persevering to end hunger. I think it's shifting mindset of people, and that's become such a big, important mission for the Backpack Project, is that we're working with younger people on a constant basis. As I go off to college next year, my goal is to expand our project to not only my college campus, which will be Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. So I plan to not only expand it there, but have that be an opportunity to reach out and expand throughout the country again with other college campuses. As of now, the Backpack Project, like I said, we've reached over 3,500 people individually, and our bags have gone from Tampa, Florida to Los Angeles, California, with tons of cities and states in between. But the mission is not transaction-based, it's partnership-based. Whether that's the people we're interacting with on a daily basis, our volunteers, the biggest companies we have helping us and backing us, or any support we receive from community members as well. We never aim to just have a transaction and that be the end of a relationship. The Backpack Project slogan is #PackTheKindness, and we do take that to heart. It's been that since day one, and that's where we build off of everything in our goal, and everybody behind the Backpack Project, working behind the scenes, whether it's me, our volunteers, the rest of my family. The whole mission is bled through everybody. It's Pack the Kindness, and everything is partnership-based. We never like to do transactions.
Love that. Pack the kindness.
Love it.
Shrusty, we've got a question for you. It's the same as Ryan's. We're interested in seeing how you answer that. Why do you think we each need to keep persevering to end hunger?
I think we all keep persevering to fight hunger because, to me personally, it's ridiculous that people at the end of the day, they're going hungry. Across the world, we're creating enough food to be able to feed every single person. But because of a lack of an equitable food system, people either aren't able to access food or they're not able to have enough money to purchase this food. So because of this, a lot of food is being wasted, and millions of people across the world are going hungry. But food is a fundamental right. Everybody has the right to access food. So to me, it's really...
That's right.
To me, it's really important that we keep persevering to fight hunger because we need to create a more equitable food system that everyone will be able to access equally. We need to expand the work that we've been doing. We need to inspire other people to take on work like this so we're all able to fight hunger in our community.
Thank you.
Well, I get the pleasure of telling you that this is the end, and it's like painful to say that. I mean, I can't tell you. I want my kids to know you. I want you to be my kids. Is that weird?
Okay.
Or at least mentor them.
Well, that's probably a better way to say it, but, you know, I also want to pretend, you know, that I could give birth to children as wonderful as you guys are. But in all seriousness, I think for every leader in this room, I want to work for them, right?
Yes.
I want to
yes.
learn for them.
I signed the contract.
And I hope more than anything tonight, you want to fund them, because that's where your foundation donations are going. They're going to put money and investment into people like this who are solving bureaucracy, who are solving access, and who aren't waiting for permission. They're just going and doing it. And what an inspiration it's been for all of us.
It has been. And, you know, when I first met you, I didn't know what to expect. I'm so impressed.
Do you want them to be your children too?
Wow.
Well, I'm an empty nester now, so I would have. But I want to thank each and every one of you and congratulate each and every one of you. You each embrace something at Sodexo we talk a lot about. That's our service spirit, our team spirit, and our spirit of progress. So, audience, I need some participation here. Let's have one last round of applause for this year's Stephen J. Brady Scholars. These 5 amazing individuals right here who've made a positive impact on the lives of so many people.
And they're just getting started.
You did great. Awesome. I love the branding.
I get to take the water.
I love that.
What an incredible group of young leaders. I hope you all spend some more time with them this evening, getting to know them. And if their nonprofit business happens to be in your neighborhood, please consider giving them a helping hand with their mission. Roxanne spoke earlier about Stop Hunger's new emergent grant. And the foundation expects to spend at least $150,000 each year helping local communities. And for this reason, I want to focus on building the capacity within the foundation to meet or exceed that goal. Over the past several years, we've raised $1.6 million between Dave's Challenge and our auction. So tonight, to kick this off, being the 5th anniversary, I'm personally committing $5,000 towards this goal and encourage you to consider a donation that you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be $5,000. It can be $5. Every dollar makes a difference. Now, I do want to say, I was talking with Damian Calderini earlier, and Damian said, "Dave, what are you going to do tonight?" And I said, "I'm going to donate $5,000, and he's somewhere in the crowd. And he said, "Well, I'm going to match your $5,000. And he wants to challenge each and every one of you that have the capacity. Let's raise more money. Let's help more communities. So to donate, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can access the code in your program. For our live streaming audience, you can participate with a personal donation to my challenge also. Information on how to donate is in your chat box, so please take a moment now to make your personal commitment to help those facing difficulties and need our help. To our live streaming audience, and we had hundreds of people on, I was watching the hearts going up on the Teams meeting. Thank you for being with us this evening. Your engagement and support of Stop Hunger is so important. We hope you enjoyed the program, and this will end the festivities for tonight's live streaming audience.